So what I'm doing here is I'm just going through these mostly hatch virgin queens, and I'm checking that they're all okay. Some haven't hatched yet. So what is, I'm having a looking at the cell. This one's about to hatch. You can see the cap is nearly there. And sometimes you can just peel the cap off. I'm going to leave that. I like to leave them hatch, but you can give them a knock sometimes, and you'll see the queen in the bottom there. She's well alive, and she's still hatching. But I'll leave her hatch. I'm going to come and check the rest of these later. The ones have hatched. I check them regularly because otherwise, what happens is sometimes, I don't know if I can show you one here that I've got left. Here's one. That one hasn't hatched yet. Sometimes they crawl back up the inside of the cap and get stuck inside. Here, this one's just done it. You can see that. So this is why you've got to check them regularly. So you just break off the, carefully break off the wax capping, and usually you can get the queen out. And this one is proving to be a pain. There she is, eating. We've got a head inside the rest of the. So I'm actually going to grab her by the wings because she's easily going to come out like that. Doesn't want to come out. There we go. Very carefully. There she is. So I'll reassemble this cell. Original cell. That'll be the plug for the base. Now I've got her here. So I'll hold her in my fingers and I'm going to mark her. If you can see that, it's not easy. Let's actually try it out a little bit, this. So she's marked now. Then I put her back inside the tube, and the other end, when she goes back in, she's walking around now. Look. So I'll put her back in there, put the bung back in, and the other end, whoops, the other end, I put a bit of honey into the little cap here. Now on the edge of the cap, you don't want to put too much, because if they get covered in it, they get sticky and they can't get it off. Just a little bit in the corner there, and that'll give her enough food. Then I'll leave this on its side now so that it can then feed, and all these are ready now. They're marked. Now I've found no difference at all in ones that are marked and ones that aren't marked in relation to them going off mating. They don't get in midair and suddenly the drones go, oh, we're not touching you, dear, because you've got a spot on your back. I find no difference at all. So if you're worried about it, as long as they're marked carefully and you haven't got anything on the antenna, there's no problem. So that's basically how I go for my queens. Another one here. She's a good one. She's eaten. She's really strong. Now where on earth has she gone? Here we go. The good thing about handling virgins as well is you can have a good look at them. You can check that the wings are looking good, so she's got a good chance of going off to mate. And generally, virgins aren't that active. They're not like a running one that's been in the colony for a few hours. When they've been in the colony, they're much more vigorous, and often they fly. Having them in the incubator, you can just get them when they're just born, and because of that, they're much easier to mark. So pop this one back in again. Gently let her go. Her wings are good, she's strong. And give her some honey on the other end. So again, just a little bit in the cap, but in the edge of the cap, not in on the cap itself. I'll leave that like that. And all these queens here, they're all going to go into nukes, mating nukes, maybe even tonight. This is an odd shaped one. Let's see what this one's doing. There's the queen inside. You see that against the light. You can see the dark queen inside. She's moving around, so I'll leave her hatch on her own. That's good. So that one there, she's about to hatch. That one's hatched. There she is inside. So again, break off the, usually pulls off, and there she is, trying to eat. It's going to grab her, and it's so easy to mark because you can just hold her Very gently. You need to get used to holding objects very lightly with your fingertips. But I like to hold them like that, and then I don't crush them or anything then. Here's the marking pen. The thing with marking pens is we use automotive paint. But with all marking pens, whether it's the posher ones, I've even started to get paint on my head there. Whether it's the posher marking pens or anything you use, really be careful with the amount of liquid you have on the brush, because it is so easy to just drown her in it and she just dies. You cannot get anything on her eyes or her antenna, and because the queen's gone, she's finished otherwise. And a valuable queen is dead. A little bit of honey, and she's done. There she is. She's going to be coming out soon. So is that one. Really good take on these. Here's one's been released. That one's just a clean cup with a cap on the end, and the queen's inside. So I just knocked that off anyway. Sometimes there's a little bit of royal jelly left in there. I'll delete out of that. So I'm going to mark this queen. There she comes. Oh, that was lucky. That's what can happen. So let's pick her up again. Check her wings are good. They look fine to me. Quick mark. She's marked. Back into the tube. You've got to be aware that they don't always go where you want them to go. So if you make arrangements for that and have them always low to the ground, if they fall, you ain't going to kill themselves. That one needs a bit of honey, and then we're done for now. I'll probably come back in 3 or 4 hours because I'm sure there's other ones will have hatched. Occasionally, if you're in a hurry, you can break open the cell, and they'll just be born, but a couple of hours earlier. And it doesn't really matter, but it's not the ideal thing. A really good tool I found to have in the incubator gear is a dropper like this. You can just put a drop of water just on top like that, and that's all they need, one drop. See? And then you're sure they're having a drink. If you do it with anything else, you put too much. You do not want to put too much on. You can just give them one drop in the morning, and the bees will just lick that up if they need it. If they don't, it dries up. You can be sure then each one has a drink. And there's not water everywhere. One of the biggest ways of killing a queen in the incubator is actually overfeeding it with the wrong type of candy or the wrong type of honey. Giving them too much, they get covered in it, they get sticky, and then you give them water and it just makes it worse. So just be aware of that. Well, that's what I find anyway. Plenty of queens, all hatch well. All these are going to be banked for a little while because we're going to try inseminating some more over the next few days, and we need queens that are over 5 days old. So these are all going to be banked today. Just like the ones I did yesterday. So I've got these few spare queens and I needed to hold them over. So what I did was I banked them. I put them back in an already strong colony that was previously a cell builder with lots of nurse bees. Okay, they built a lot of comb, but it was a good experiment to see, and they all survived, and they were really strong virgins ready to go. So this is one of the queens we've just harvested from our mini plus mating nukes. As you can see, we had real trouble finding her. All the frames are out up there. But we found her in the end. She was actually in the bottom. This is what happens sometimes. It does take a lot of time, but I haven't marked this one either, and that's probably why she was more difficult to find. So I'm going to hold her by the wings because I've just grabbed her by the head because of the thorax, and she's not happy about it. But I'm going to mark her really carefully. And this paint is really drippy, so you've got to be so careful when you're trying to mark the paint. So you can literally pin her down, and she'll grab the front, and then she's holding herself there. Look, she's trying to get up, and you can just mark her while she holds herself there. So she's done. Now, I'm just going to help that blow. I could put her in a queen clip for a few minutes, but she's going straight in a cage anyway, so she won't be causing a problem. So she's in there now. Now I'm going to add 10 attendants. So where do you get the attendants from? Well, you're supposed to have nurse bees, but what I do is I put the frame on its side, and I go for the ones that are eating honey, because to be honest, there's a lot of nurse bees in these colonies, and the ones that are on, we haven't used any smoke, so there's not many on the honey. But so what I do is I hold the cage upside down, because bees generally tend to go up, and if there's a darker spot where your thumb is, they'll tend to go up out of the way, so they don't tend to go in. So literally grab bees and you stuff them in like that. 1, 2, 3. Ow! That one got me. There's one nearly out again there. Got to be careful. 4, 5, 6. See if they've all left the frame. Funny that. 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 in there. Close it up carefully. There we are. There's the queen. She's inside. Red dot running around. Candy plug. This candy's a little bit soft, so I'll leave this out to dry a bit more, because I want to, or I'll sellotape it over before I put it in the colony. And the good thing is you can put these in 2 or 3 days before with the sellotape on, so the sellotape stops the bees eating the candy. She then becomes accustomed to the new colony, the colony becomes accustomed to her, and then when you come in, say day 3 or day 4, you release the sellotape, then she can be eaten out the cage. And